So I found this board in The Range, which is a shop right near where I live, and it's like a monthly planner, which I thought would be quite good for monthly planning. So I'll have my Kanban board, which will have the whole quarter up, but then I think month by month this would be quite helpful, so just to sort of narrow down and focus on what I'm doing. So this month, because I didn't actually end up putting stuff on my Kanban board, I've just written it out, but what I would do is then put the sticky notes on here for the month, just so what I'm focusing on. So when it says the sections are sort of my bucket list, top goals, key dates, notes, and the monthly plan. So the bucket list is stuff that I would really love to get done, and sort of like not necessarily need to do, but I want to do and I think would fulfill my goals overall. So this month my bucket list is all surrounding things like designing and ordering like bookmarks and stickers, postcards, and posters, things like that for the release, well, for like pre-order incentives for Reign of Blood and Shadows. Then I've got goals that I want to work towards. These are sort of like almost long-term or monetary goals. So things like, oh, dog hair, always. So I've got like, I want to apply for like a local Christmas market, which I'm nervous about, but it'd be really cool if I could do that. And also focusing on my YouTube for my planning, because September is when the next round of HB90 is coming up, and I really want to follow it this time. And I also want to share with like you guys how I'm sort of planning for that. And then I've got my key dates, so things like, so on the 22nd I've got like website hosting that is coming up but needs renewing. I've also got like 2 beta reads, so I've put down the dates that I said for them. And then notes. So this month I've got things like, so I've got to reread Abby Fox's books because I'm doing a beta read for her in October. So I want to reread books 1 and 2. I'm getting some art back on the 9th, so I've put that down. And then the last one is just, it's a personal one. I've got like several birthdays coming up in September, including my own, and that's just to make notes so I actually remember to sort them out. I've also, so then move on to my monthly plan. So this is really leading up to releasing the book in October. Still haven't come up with a set date yet. So I've got, from what I haven't done so far, I've ordered a proof from Amazon, so when that gets here I need to sort of proof it and then upload the ebook. I want to also upload the paperback to Ingram Spark, and I've never used that before, so that might be a little bit of a challenge. I want to upload the digital file to D2D, which all means I need to actually set up a date. I want to write, there's a bonus chapter that I want to write that I'll be adding to Story Origins. So at the end of the book, if you want to read that, then you'll sign up to my newsletter and you'll get that bonus chapter. I need to contact ARCs because I want to deliver ARCs next month, so that, well, I want to deliver ARCs in September so that they're ready for October when I release the book. I need to set up the pre-order links and then share it, set up the pre-order gifts and share them, and then create the reels and carousels for Reign of Blood and Shadows. I know that's very generic, but I might do like a bunch in one go and then sort of share them out throughout September. And then if I get to it, I've got the D2D, so Draft to Digital upload of Soulbound, because you may or may not have seen in my newsletter if you follow me, but I've taken the Soulbound series out of KU, and so I need to push them wide. And then I also want to carry on with planning the second book in the Kingdom of Druid series. So I was meant to finish that in August, but then the world sort of expanded in my head, and so there's like a dual timeline point of view thing going on now in book 2. There's sort of like 2 separate storylines. They will later converge in the series, but I'm sort of mapping out 2 separate storylines, books, to sort of weave them together. So that's been a little bit more tricky, and I wanted to have that planned out to start writing it, but then I thought I'm not going to get that done. So, and because I've got the release and I've got beta reads as well, so what I'm going to do, this is my plan, is I've got September and October to plan that story out, get it really, really properly down, because it will just help me in the writing process to really focus on that. Because I've also got like, in the meantime, I've also got like the bonus chapters that I want to do. I want to do an exclusive scene for pre-order incentives and gifts and stuff like that. So there are little bits that I need to be writing, and I've got the release stuff. So I want to be focusing on that, so that in November for Nano, I'm going to start book 2. I'm not going to finish it in November, but so November and December, I'll have written book 2. That is the plan. So it'll be written in December. I can then leave it over the holidays, have a little bit of a break, and then get back to it in January with sort of the rewrites and draft and the editing process. So that is the plan. I think that is a lot more realistic. I also think if I rush to try and get the planning done in August, it probably wouldn't be as robust as it should be, especially when I'm having to deal with 2 distinct timelines and storylines that converge later in the series. There's a lot of like pre-planning that would have to go into that. And then if I wrote that in September and October to try and get ready for Nano, to do a new story in Nano, I may just be, I think that's just too much drafting in one go for me, especially with September is my son starting school. It's a whole different routine, and I have got paid beta reading to do as well, so I do need to try and prioritize that as well. And I didn't want to let one suffer and then get to November and just be burnt out and having to try and then suddenly plan and write another story. So I think what I'm doing is probably a little bit more realistic and will probably end up being better for me. And I think that's something that, this is why I love the HB90 method, is that it's very much focused on being realistic with the time that you have available. But that's my monthly plan for September, because Q4 is October to December. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on next, is sort of using the HB90 method to sort of plan out, because I think it's going to, I need to be a little bit more on it, because I don't want there to be such a massive gap between release of book 1 to release of book 2, which means I need to have quite a lot of bits in place this quarter as well as drafting it this quarter. So stay tuned for all of that, and we will plan a Q4 together so you can see the HB90 plan in motion. And if you are interested, I'll leave the links down below, because sign up is open right now for enrolment. It is something I recommend, and I really do think that it is worthwhile, the investment in that course. So I'll leave the links down below, and let's move on to planning for Q4.